What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today I have another video in our series of comparing some of the top prospects in this year's 2022 NBA draft. Today we're going to be going over Paolo Banchero and Jabari Smith, two very good prospects, two prospects who will probably be top 3 picks in this year's draft. We're going to be looking at how they compare to each other physically, offensively, defensively, and then I'll be giving you my opinion on who I think is the better prospect of the two. But more importantly, I want to hear what you guys have to say, so make sure you leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know who you think the better prospect is, and with that being said, let's get into the video. So first, going to be looking at how they compare to each other physically, and they're two similar but different, I think, prospects physically. Starting with Paolo Banchero. Paolo is a 6'10", 240-pound four-man who is a good athlete. He's someone who is physically built and physically ready to play at the NBA today. Already has the size, like I said, at 6'10", 240 pounds. Physically can bang and handle the punishment, I think, of the NBA right now. Doesn't have to worry about that. He's a good athlete. He's not necessarily an elite athlete. Doesn't have a great first step. Isn't someone who is necessarily going to be playing above the rim a ton, but is just really solid physically. I think the big question mark for him physically is going to be how well can he move laterally and defensively, and if maybe it's going to be a question mark in terms of does he have a quick enough first step to consistently beat guys off the dribble once he's on the perimeter. Then you have Jabari Smith. Jabari's similar to Paolo in that he's a 6'10" power forward, but unlike Paolo, he's a little bit slimmer. He's 220 pounds. I think he has a little bit of a quicker first step than Paolo, and I think Jabari's a little bit more suited or can handle an up and down style of play, where Paolo, I think, is more suited for kind of the half-court style of basketball. But Jabari is a good athlete. He's not necessarily the crazy elite athlete, in my opinion. He's solid. He's good. He can move his feet. He can play above the rim a little bit, but he's not some crazy explosive Kendall Brown type guy in this year's draft. He's not like that. But Jabari's solid athlete. I don't think there's too many question marks there. He can put on a little bit more size in his time in the league, but solid, good athlete. Offensively, I think that both Paolo and Jabari match up well with each other in terms of, I think they're both going to be really solid pros on the offensive side of the ball. Starting with Paolo. Paolo is just a walking kind of mismatch. He's someone who is really hard to find someone to put on him. He's someone where he's got that big body. He's 6'10", 240 pounds. And so if you stick a smaller, lighter guy on him, he can head down onto the block and play a little bit of bully ball and finish down there. If you stick a bigger, slower-footed guy on him, he has enough ball handling ability, enough perimeter play where he can take that guy off the dribble and play from the perimeter. And so he's someone who's really tough to match up with. Kind of digging a little deeper into his game, he's someone who I think is suited right now for kind of, if he's going to isolate, he's best out of kind of that mid-range area. He's kind of got a little bit of a Carmelo Anthony type game to him, where you can kind of just throw it to him in that mid-post area, and he can face you up and triple threat you there. He's someone who I think will be really well suited for picking and pop situations where he can pop to that three-point line. He's capable of knocking that down, but he's also able to put the ball on the floor and attack closeouts in those situations. And so he's tough to match up with. What I really liked about his game, I thought was a little bit underrated at Duke this past year, was playmaking ability. Every time I watched him play, he had just a couple nice passes every game where he was able to find open guys. And so if he's able to develop that part of his game even more at the NBA level, he becomes really scary offensively. Jabari is also a very good offensive prospect. He's 6'10", and his calling card really is his ability to shoot the ball. He's someone who just can shoot lights out, and it's from mid-range level, it's from the three-point line. He's that modern day, kind of the comparison that I've seen a lot with him is Rashard Lewis. He can shoot the ball at that 4 spot, but he's also a good enough athlete, and he's good enough with the ball in his hands where he can do other things than just shooting the ball. At 6'10", he's like Jabari, where if you put a smaller guy on him, he can go down in the paint and go a little bit in the post. He's not as physical as Paolo, but he does have a little bit of that in his game. Where he can really just shine is elevating over defenders and shooting over them. Just like I said, a really clean shooting stroke. Can really just shoot the ball. And then I think where he's going to really make his money is his ability to shoot the 3-ball. Pick and pop situations can be scary if you get another guard with him that can shoot it. Going to be just a really tough matchup. Someone who is just built for today's NBA. Good athlete, like we talked about. Can just do a lot of different things on the court. But the big thing with Jabari is that ability to shoot the ball. The big question mark for Jabari right now is going to be his ability to put the ball on the floor. He's pretty limited at Auburn. Doesn't he have enough playmaking ability with the ball in his hands to be a number one option on a team or a go-to guy? I'm unsure on that. That's something that can develop over time, but right now that definitely was a weakness for him. And so I think just in terms of offensive ability, he's a little limited in that sense, but overall, just a really, really good prospect who's suited for today's NBA. Defensively, this matchup will definitely go to Jabari. Paolo was just not good defensively at Duke. He really didn't have much effort on that end of the floor. He's slower footed. He's not necessarily built to play defense out on the perimeter. He's got a big body. He can be physical with guys if they try to post him up. But in terms of if he's forced to defend out on the perimeter, I think it can get ugly for him. He's just not a very good defensive player. Some of it could be due to lack of effort, but some of it is also just physical abilities. He's not quick of foot. He's not someone who can move well laterally. And so he's going to have to work on that and get better at it, but it's just not something that I think he's ever going to be great at. Jabari is someone who I wouldn't necessarily put in the elite defensive prospect either, but when you're comparing him to Paolo, he's much better. He's 6'10", better athlete in terms of ability to move his feet, has some length, 7-foot wingspan, has some room to fill out his frame where he can get a little bit stronger. He can bang with some of the big guys and maybe protect the rim at times, but again, not an elite defensive prospect, but I would definitely say that he's better than Paolo, which isn't saying a ton, but he's better. Overall, who's the better prospect out of the two? Well, I think it's close. I think both players are going to be good pros. I think they're both pretty safe picks. I think both have the ability where they can average 18 and 7-8 points a game pretty easily throughout their career. I think with the upside, you got to go with Jabari Smith. I just think that his ability to shoot the ball fits today's NBA really well. He's a little bit better defensively. I think there's more room for him to grow. Paolo is a good prospect. The defensive concerns worry me. And just that would be kind of the thing with me. He just doesn't have that upside defensively. And so that's who I would go with. But it's close, like I said. I think they're both good. I think they're both going to be, like I said, 18 and 7 type guys, if not better. But if I had to pick between the two, I'm going Jabari, number one overall, if I had to choose. And so those are my thoughts. Let me know who you would go with number one. Who do you think the better prospect is? Leave those thoughts down in the comment section below. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys later.